All right, you guys, happy Thursday. Welcome to my channel, Wholesale to Million. My name is Khang. We're back with another powerhouse real estate investor interview number 6. Now, today I have a very special guest for you guys. You guys have asked and I deliver, all right? He's an entrepreneur, a mentor, a life coach, a father of 5. He owns and controls $10 million plus worth of real estate, you guys. He wholetail, and flip properties all across Louisiana for a large profit. Now, I'm going to have him share with you guys his stories of how he started, his knowledge, so you guys can duplicate and create your own success. So you guys, please help me welcome the one and only Mr. Chris Rood.
Man, that good, man. That was pretty intense, but I appreciate it.
Dude, the day that I reach out to you, a lot of my subscribers have asked me to reach out to you, and I want you guys to hear this from Chris. Chris, how many times did I reach out to you until we're able to sit down and do this?
I would say at least 10.
You guys got to understand, when you know that you can bring some kind of a value to the other person. You know, I know that Chris does coaching and he does mentoring, and you know, he takes people from nothing and then make them successful. And you know, and I feel like the channel has grown, and I have subscriber where I can get Chris on, you know, share that, and then also too is, you know, with him in exchange is him giving up his valuable time to do this. And so you guys got to understand, to me, a no is to keep trying. A no is try again. A no is try again. So for those of you who, you know, making a phone call to a realtor or reaching out to someone to have a mentor or coach you or whatever it is, I want you guys to understand that don't devalue yourself. Don't feel like you're less than. Don't feel like you're not good enough. So, and don't put yourself down, because when you do that, then you don't keep on going. You know, so as long as you feel like you bring some kind of a value to the table, just keep on going. You know, the other person might be too busy, and I know Chris is a very, very busy guy. So I keep on pursuing it because I know that he's going to bring to you guys lots and lots of good content in this episode. So if you guys are interested in learning, please stay tuned, and let's get right into it. So,
well, I want to add to what you just said, because you just dropped a golden nugget without really talking about it. And you know, he called me 10 times, right? And this is all about the follow up. I mean, you have to follow up. You got to go for no. This goes for wholesaling and trying to find heavily discounted deals. Like, I go through this all day, me and my team. You know, we may have to touch somebody 10 to 15 times before we get that yes. You know, it's a follow-up game. You got to go for no. And that's what a lot of investors get hung up on, is they get frustrated when they first get into it. They can't handle rejection. Like, they think everybody's supposed to say yes. Like, that's part of business. Like, I get no all day, every day. Okay, I'm like, good, great. Okay, next. Like, you have to go for the no. You got to know in your mind that you're going to get 15 no's before you got to get that yes. So in your mind, if you're telling yourself, okay, I got 10 no's today, I'm that much closer to that yes. I only maybe have 4 or 5 more no's before I get that yes. That's the mindset you got to have. That's why I decided, you know, get on with this guy, because he was persistent. I loved it. I was like, okay, yeah. If you'd have just reached out to me 1 or 2 times and quit, I was like, okay, he's a quitter. Like, you gotta follow up and be persistent. If you keep that up, you will get in the door.
Chris, very, very well said, man. And to be honest with you, the first time I reached out to you, I would never stop. I would not stop until I get you on, man.
I love it. That's my style too, man. You're gonna have to call the cops on me or block me. Unless that's just pretty much how I roll my business. I mean, either you'd say, hey, dude, you need to quit calling me because I'm not selling your house, or I'm gonna call the cops on you. That's like, you have to block me. Like, if I know you're motivated and you got equity in your property, dude, I'm gonna really act. I'm gonna bother you.
Done. So Chris, let's get right into it, man. So why don't you share with everyone your stories of kind of like where you were before, and then how you got into real estate, and also too is after that we'll talk about your first wholesale deal. Okay,
perfect. So always was an entrepreneur. In 5th grade, I was selling baseball cards, hustling, you know, selling. I just had a knack for talking to people and convincing people to do what I needed them to do, right? And at an early age, I mean, people saw that in me. I was just a little hustler. And At 22 years old, I started a business out of the back of my truck while I was in college. I started an on-site oil change and car wash business out the back of my truck while I was in college, and did pretty well with that. Made a lot of money. By the time I had graduated college, I was making like, I was making about $100,000 a year by the time I had graduated college. I was like, man, I'm going to keep doing this. Like I'm 23 years old, 24 years old. Or no, I'm sorry. I started this business when I was 21. I graduated college when I was 22. Then I was almost 23. And I was making about, I think, 80 to $100,000 a year. All my friends were getting out of school, going to look for jobs, getting jobs, making 30 grand a year. And I'm sitting here making 80, $100,000 a year as my own boss. So I was like, I'm going to keep doing this. So, expanded that business, I was making really good money, decided I want to get a shop instead of stop chasing all these oil changes and car wash out the back of my truck. Found a shop that I leased, got into that, started making real good money. Then let me back up. I had built a house about a year before that, and it was a little small, 1,500 square foot house. Lived in it for a couple years. Then, I don't know how old you are, but do you remember Katrina that hit New Orleans?
I'm 34.
Okay, so I'm 37. So you remember when Katrina, the hurricane, came and hit New Orleans and wiped it out?
Yep.
The big hurricane back in like 2005?
Yep.
So I live about 3 hours west of New Orleans. So the hurricane comes, wipes out New Orleans. And this story all ties into real estate, by the way. I'm not just rambling. So wipes out New Orleans, an influx of people come to Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Houston. So what happens when an influx of people come to your area and there's a shortage of houses? What happens to real estate? Supply goes down. Demand goes up. And I had enough common sense, and I'm watching this. I'm seeing all these people come into our town because they're displaced from the hurricane, and they have no place to live. And there's like a huge influx of buying in my area. Everybody's buying up real estate. I told my wife, I said, baby, we need to sell our house. Like, we got to sell this house. Like, we had paid like $125 for it 2 or 3 years ago. And I was like, we got to sell this house. So we put it for sale. We paint the kitchen, re-landscape it, put it back on the markets. Now, appreciation had occurred. Plus, the market was like in a bubble. It inflated, like doubled overnight. We put it on the market. We sold it for $225,000. I only owed like $100,000 on it. So I was 24 or 25 at the time when we did this. So I made that was my first house flip. I made $125,000 out at 24, 25 years old. I was like, man, this is where it's at. Real estate, right? Like, man, I just made $125,000. I'm 24 years old. So I'm still doing my quick lube things. I have my first shop and I'm making good money with that. And I just did my first real estate deal. So I took that $125,000. I bought a second location in the busiest part of my town here in Lafayette off of Johnson Street, which is like the busiest street. Bought another quick lube, started making real good money with that. Found a foreclosure, bought a foreclosure, moved into it, fixed it up, sold it, I think a year or two later, made another 60, 70 grand. Took that, bought another quick lube. And see, I was flipping real estate to scale my oil change mechanic shop and car wash business, right? So I had about 3 or 4 quick lube car wash and mechanic shops. No, I had 4 at one time. And I was making a lot of money. I was like 25, 26 years old, making $350,000 a year. I was killing it, right? Did that for a little while, kind of got burned out. I had like 34 employees at one time. It was a lot of work, trading my time for money. And this is a key fact I want to, emphasize about, having a job versus doing real estate. I was trading my time for money. I was working Monday through Saturday, working my ass off and making good money. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of headaches with employees. And I was like, you know what? Like, I think I'm going to pivot. I'm going to do a little transition. So I took my cash I was making from the quick lubes and I bought up about $4 or $5 million worth of single family homes and started renting them out. Started making good money with that. Then I came across wholesaling. I didn't know what that was. What the hell is wholesaling? How you wholesale real estate? I came across on YouTube, just doing some YouTube searches on investing. I was like, man, this is interesting. Wholesaling real estate. How the hell you wholesale real estate? So I did a little bit of research on that, learned a little bit on YouTube. I actually wholesaled one of my own personal properties, my single family home, to an investor and made I think my first deal I made, it wasn't much. I think I made $5,000, $3,500. I was like, man, I like this. I didn't have to rehab the house. I just wholesaled it. I said, okay. So I wholesaled some of my other properties, and I tried to do some other wholesaling, but I couldn't put it all together because I didn't have enough information. And YouTube just didn't give me enough information to actually do it. This is probably, 4 or 5 years ago. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to hire a mentor. I hired a mentor. 30 days after I hired my first mentor, I made $47,000 in 1 month from wholesaling real estate. $47,000 in 1 month. You know how long it takes me to wash cars, change oil, and do brake jobs to make $47,000 with my 3 shops? Probably about 3 months. And I did it. And I did it in 1 month with just me by myself, no employees. So a light bulb went off in my head, like, okay, this is where it's at. I walked away from my shops. I hired 2 more mentors back to back. Wanted to learn as much information, and they kind of taught me the same thing. A few of them taught me a couple of things I didn't know that the other ones had. One of them actually stole $50,000 from me, had my credit card on file. But that's a story. That's a topic in their stories. That means be careful who you hire as a mentor, because there are a lot of them faking it out there. So anyway, I had him arrested. Long story short, had him arrested. He's paying me restitution right now. He went to jail. Anyway, got really, really good at what I was doing. One of the guys that coached me asked me to go work in his sales department, selling for him his coaching program. Got really good, selling his program. Then I was like, man, I'm doing this better than my coaches. Like, I'm doing this. I'm better at this than my coaches. Why am I not teaching? So started my own program, got away from them. And, here I sit and I'm training people across the country, helping them crush it. We're doing big numbers every month. This month we'll do probably $200K. Not all of that is wholesale deals. We had a big land development deal that we made $130,000 on March 2nd. We flipped the house and made $42,000 2 weeks ago, and we got a wholesale. We have a close right now. We have a closing right now that we're making $9,000 that my assistant's at right now, picking up a check. But we're going to do $200K this month in real estate transactions. And like I said, not all wholesale deals. But the moral of the story is, real estate is a Ferrari financial vehicle, meaning not all business vehicles are the same, meaning not all businesses will take you where you want to be fast. Not all businesses are created equal. I mean, we all kind of know that. For me to make that kind of money with my shops required an exuberant amount of effort and focus and headaches and employees and personalities and problems. And I figured out, like, man, I could build out a team of real estate guys, and I could scale this, and I could make 10 times the amount of money I'm making with my shops with the least amount of headache with real estate and wholesaling. So walked away from my shops. Been doing this full time now for about 3 years, wholesaling, and just it's blown up my business. I mean, when you have a wholesaling business, you should, for all you guys that are listening, you got to start with wholesaling. You don't start with flipping. You don't start with buying whole. And the only reason you would start with buying whole is unless you have a ton of cash and you don't have time to wholesale. But most of the people on this thread are not going to have, $10 million sitting in a checking account. You start with wholesaling. Why do you start with wholesaling? Because it teaches you how to find deals. Before I got into wholesaling, when I told you I bought $4 or $5 million worth of real estate, I was buying all my deals on MLS. That's not where the deals are at. The deals are off market. You got to learn to market to motivated sellers off market. If it's on MLS, it's not a deal. Not to say I didn't get okay deals. I did. I had to make like 20 offers on MLS before I get some bit of a motivated seller, and I'd buy it for like 85 cents on the dollar, 80 cents on the dollar, which was okay. It was mediocre. I was like, man, I'm cool. I'm getting properties for 80 cents on the dollar. I was like, I thought I was Mr. Big Shot, right? Until I found out about wholesaling. Now I literally buy properties for 40, 50, 60 cents a dollar, even cheaper sometimes. No kidding you. I mean, I can buy properties for half of what they're worth now. So I learned a lot through the years of knowing if I would have started with wholesaling in my 20s, knowing what I know now, I would be worth $100 million. No doubt about it. Because, by the way, you said I own $10 million. We own $12 million at this point. I just bought a $1 million beach house in Destin, Florida. That's valued at 1.1.
Dude, awesome, man. Hey, congrats. Actually, I value the 10 million because I was watching your interview with Uncle G. Yeah. And at the time, I wasn't too far. And man, that's awesome, dude. How you just grew so quickly. Awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. But the point, guys, you want to start with wholesaling. You want to learn how to become the source of the deal, which I wrote a book about. I'm not quite finished. It's called The Source of the Deal. and you can go to the sourceofdeal.com and put your information, you get a free copy. But that's what wholesaling does. It makes you the source. You're in first position because you capture the most equity when you're a wholesaler. And the biggest problem most investors because a lot of 80% of investors that try to get into real estate, they quit. Because I'm gonna tell you why. It's because they don't start with wholesaling, because they don't know how to buy right. If you're not buying right, you screw yourself down the road. You have to buy discounted. Learn how to buy heavily discounted. And the way you do that is by training yourself with somebody like me or a good coach to teach you how to market to motivated sellers to buy low. You know, you don't want to buy deals off MLS like I did in the beginning at 80 cents on the dollar. That's not a good enough margin, because if we have a market correction, which we always will, it's cyclic. We're in a boom market right now. It's not going to always be like this. We will have a down market soon. If you buying right now for 80 cents on the dollar and thinking you're cool, I guarantee you, I guarantee you, if you're buying in a boom market, when we have a correction and a disruption in the real estate market, that where you bought it 80%, that property is going to be worth that, because we're going to have it. You have 80%, equity position now, but if the market dips and your values come down, you're going to be at what it's worth, and then you're going to be screwed. You're going to be stuck at it for what it's worth. Always, you got to learn how to time the markets. Like right now, it's almost a good time to sell. If you own a lot of real estate, you want to be selling right now, especially if in a boom market. You want to. What does a smart money do? They buy when everything crashes. You don't want to buy too much when it's booming. Although like I said, I'm still buying right now, but I'm cherry picking from my pipeline of my wholesale business, the best deals that I'm buying for like half of what it's worth, because if I know there's a correction, I'm still into it for half. That property, hypothetically, that's worth, full retail 100,000. I'm paying 50 for it. So what if the market crashes? It's only worth 80. I'm still good. I only owe 50 on it. So learn to time the markets, get into wholesaling. Let me help you learn how to do it.
Awesome. Hey, Chris, dude. So I got a quick question for you here. Is when you say you walk away from your other, from your quick loop business, so do you sold it off and then take all the money and dump it into real estate, or?
Yes. Okay. Great point. So yes, I sold. Matter of fact, the beach house that we just bought for $1 million, I 1031 exchange. I sold my property on Johnson Street that I told you that I made $125,000 and dumped it into that. I sold that property and made $500,000 on it. So we 1031 exchange half of that money, $250,000. We 1031 exchanged it into that beach house.
Gotcha.
So, and then I still have one shop left that I got to sell. We sold 3 of them. We have 1 more left. It's probably going to be sold on lease option here soon.
Nice. So, and now, Chris, when you discover wholesaling, what kind of technique were you doing at the time to start generating deals?
So a lot of my coaches were, the mentors I hired were telling me, oh, direct mail, postcards, this and that, yada, yada. And I did a little bit of it. And I was like, I'd send out 10,000 letters, and I was like, my God, my phone would not stop ringing. But 98% of them were like, hey, F you, stop mailing me. Where'd you get my number from? I'm going to call the cops on you. I was like, man, this is a lot of freaking work. And then the ones that were somewhat motivated, they were like, yeah, anything's for sale. Come make me an offer, which told me that they're not interested. They're not really motivated. And then I would get maybe one deal off of spending 10 grand on postcards. And I was like, I'd make maybe 10 grand. Right. I was like, this is for the birds. So I said, let me pivot. Let me transition. So I started doing a lot of bandit signs. Right. And I put out like 1,000 bandit signs. So like my phone would only ring. It wouldn't ring as much as it would when I put out, do mailers, but it would only ring if somebody was motivated. It would seem like 1 out of 4 people I talked to from a bandit sign, like, were super motivated. It's like, because why? They were chasing me. If somebody's is a different mindset versus, I don't want to chase motivation. I want motivation to chase me. And what happens is I find that with direct mail and postcards, and I'm not going to sit there and knock people that do it, because it still works. It's just a lot of competition. Everybody's teaching it. It's more of a shotgun approach of just shooting out and hoping you hit something. Whereas the way I teach, I tell all my students to start with bandit signs. It's more of a funnel. Because if somebody's going to pick up a phone, they see your sign, we buy houses fast, cash, they got a problem if they call on you. And they know what they're getting themselves into. And most of the time, I'd say 1 out of 4 times that people that call you, they know what they're getting into. They know that they're going to sell their house discounted to you. So it's more of a different mindset of people that call you off of a bandit sign or inbound marketing where they're chasing you versus you're just a shotgun approach with postcards and direct mail. It's a totally different motivated seller, and it's less work on a student who's just getting involved, especially if you have a full-time job. I mean, who can, if you have a full-time job and you're trying to become a wholesaler and you're mailing out 10,000 letters, how are you going to answer all those phone calls? It's a lot of work. Whereas if you put out, say, 500 bandit signs, you may only get 1 or 2 calls a day. But, 1 out of 4 is going to probably be somewhat motivated and qualified enough for you to book an appointment. And that's what I found. And I'm not saying that's going to work in every market because every market is different. I coach students from across the country. Sometimes the bandit signs don't work in certain markets. I can tell you this, the more higher in the market, the least amount that bandit signs work. Like big cities like, say, Orlando, Los Angeles, those markets, I would say you probably, if you're going to do bandit signs, you're going to have to freaking go hard. 2,000 of them, because the market's so hot that even retail buyers don't even have to sell their house discounted because they can throw it on MLS and still get close to retail from a retail buyer, because the market, there's so much, the inventory is so tight that a retail buyer will still buy a property that's messed up. But if you're in the outskirts, smaller towns and cities, bandit signs will kill it. If you're in a high-end market and you're having trouble with wholesaling, you need to get online. You need to dump all your money online. Online is where it's at. That's the wave of the future. We crush it online. PPC, SEO, Facebook ads. If you can get it, especially, I love PPC. PPC is one of my favorite, if you don't know, guys, know what PPC is. It's pay-per-click. It's Google AdWords. If somebody's going to search, if somebody's typing in, let me back up. If somebody's motivated and they need to sell their house and they're stressed out, they're going through pre-foreclosure, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to, what does everybody in the country have? They have what we're talking about, a smartphone. And what are they going to do? They're going to pick up and they're going to type into Google, sell my house fast. I can't tell you how many appointments I go to where they got me online and I get there and they show me the 10 postcards they have in the corner that they never call back, but they picked up a phone and Google searched me and saw my ad on pay-per-click, and I'll go on the appointment. So my point is, times are changing. The millennials are getting older. People like me and you, I'm not a millennial. I missed it by a few years. We're technology people. If somebody's going to mail you a letter, I mean, you got to look at all the different things that have to, the sun, moon, and stars have to line up for you to get a deal on with a direct mail letter. They have to open it. They have to read it. They have to be motivated. They have to have equity, and they have to have a big enough problem in their life to convince you, or to convince themselves to call you back. However, if somebody's motivated, it's a reverse. Like if they're motivated because they have a huge problem, they're going to go play on their phone. I'm telling you right now, I've seen it. I study this. I watch what converts, what doesn't work. You got to get an online presence. Now, here's the kicker about PPC. It's very expensive. It's not cheap. However, it works. For you guys that are listening that don't have a lot of money, I would start with Driving for Dollars. What you want to do is start with Driving for Dollars. You want to go and write down for an hour. If you can do it an hour a night, go drive through neighborhoods, the older neighborhoods that are 20 plus years or older. Look for tarps on roof for people that can't afford to change their roof. Look for tall grass. Look for hoarders that got trash all over your yard. Write down those addresses. Get a list of 100, 150 names. Go ahead, send them a letter, because that's more of a targeted approach versus a shotgun just mailing 10,000. These people are obviously, if you're not cutting your grass, you got trash over your yard, you're probably not paying your bills too, and your house is a wreck, and you're probably stressed out. You got issues, right? You got problems. So it's more of a targeted approach, a sniper approach. Send those guys, those 150 people, a letter, and door knock them and skip trace their number and cold call them. I guarantee if you guys are on a budget, that they don't have can't spend $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a month like me, start with that approach, Driving for Dollars and bandit signs, which bandit signs are not that expensive. And that's your entry point right there. Once you get deals, you start making money, you roll all that money over into a website, PPC, because that's where you want to end. You want to end with an online presence, because that's the most motivated seller. That's where all the best deals are at, online. So all this makes sense?
Yes, gotcha. So I was going to ask you the questions, Chris, but it seems like you have already said it. I was going to ask you what kind of things that new wholesaler with low budgets need to do to get their first wholesale done. So you mentioned about bandit sign, driving for dollars, sending out these letters, and you mentioned about skip tracing. Now, everybody probably want to know what kind of skip tracing is the best or is the one that you're using.
I use LexisNexis, but it's a really pain in the ass to get hooked up with them. You got TLO, which is a good one. There's a few other ones. I'm not even sure. You can just Google skip tracing companies. They're a dime a dozen. But I would recommend probably TLO because I have a few students in my program right now that are using it that are having good success and doing deals.
Cool, good. Now, this is for Chris. These are for the guys or the gals that are making. Let's just say, I lost you. Okay, good.
Yep.
So, Chris, so I wanted you to give some tips for those that want to scale their business up. Once you get to your level, doing 6-figure a month wholesaling. What are some tips that you can give them?
If you want to get to my level, you got to spend money. You got to spend money on marketing. I mean, we're spending 15, 20 grand a month in marketing. And, I didn't start off that way. I started off spending $1,000 a month. You want to take one marketing piece and dominate with it. So you want to dominate with the bandit signs or dominate with the driving for dollars and scale that to where you've got that consistent and that's automated. You got somebody putting out the bandit signs. I mean, I was making 20, 40 grand a month just with bandit signs when I first got started. So the key is to not spread yourself too thin, pick one or two strategies and go all in and saturate the market with those one or two strategies. Bandit signs is what I recommend. Driving for dollars if you can do that. And that would be what my recommendation. Then once you make money, you roll that into online presence. And then last, once you're making a lot of money like me, then you can go ahead and do direct mail last once you've made it because it's so expensive. Don't do direct mail first. That's why most people quit and because they blow all their cash on direct mail and there's no return. I mean, not there's no return. You can get deals. But there's another good strategy that's the best of both worlds that I mentioned to you that I like that we do. It's kind of the best of both worlds between direct mail and cold calling. For you guys that are not familiar with slide dial is basically it's where you can pull a list and then you can create a voicemail, and what it does is it calls them, but it goes straight to their voicemail, and it'll leave like say 2,500 voicemails at one time. Say, hey, this is Chris with Lafayette Cash Home Buyers. If you're interested in selling your property, we're a company here locally that buys houses cash. We can close within 10 to 14 days, and if you're interested, give us a call back at this number, right? So what happens is you hit up 2,500 people like that, and what happens is only the people that are only going to call you back are which ones? The motivated ones. So cold calling, on the other hand, works, but it's so much work. You got to call 150, 200 people to get a deal. And then you have to manage that team. And if you have a full-time job, you just can't do that. And in direct mail, if you have a full-time job, it's expensive just to do direct mail. And on top of that, to answer all those calls. And if you can do slide dial, if you have a job, that's where I would start. Bandit signs, driving for dollars, and slide dial. Go ahead and do the slide dial, and you won't. It's not really that expensive. You just got to pay for the list. I think slide dial is like maybe $200 or $300 a month, and you just buy the list with the names and the phone numbers, upload it into slide dial, record a voicemail, and just boom. Like instantly calling 2,500 people, go straight to their voicemail. How fast is that versus cold calling? You know how long it takes to cold call 2,500 people? So it's a slick little deal that we're doing right now. We really like it. And because I'm all about, just being very cautious with my time. We do a little bit of cold calling, but we're only going to cold call driving for dollars, houses. I don't want to cold call a list. And I know a lot of people out there doing it and it works for them. I don't want to have a huge team. I don't want to have a team of 3 or 4 people I have to manage and keep them motivated because it's a grind. If you're going to keep somebody motivated to call 150 people a day, they're going to get burnt out quick. And the turnover rate's real high with cold callers.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Chris, so the slide dial, is that very similar to RVM, the ringless voicemail?
Yes.
Okay. And yes. And you're saying that you've been getting a good result in that?
Yes. My students have been getting, I got a student right now in California who's got a pre-foreclosure on a contract from using Slide Out. He's got in a contract like 1.5. It's valued at 2.2 and it only needs about 200,000 worth of work. He may make 100 grand on this deal or more.
Sweet. And it's going to be a wholesale deal?
Yep.
Nice. Now, Chris, so basically what are your main marketing right now? I know that you don't do postcard. We do a lot of postcard and direct mail, but I know you don't do that. So what are your main marketing?
So we still do a lot of bandit signs. We do billboards. We do tons of Facebook ads. We do a lot of a whole lot of PPC. We're spending probably $7 to $10 grand a month on PPC. We still mailing out probates. I mean, I want to say to you, I don't do mailers. We do mailers, but it's very niche list: tax delinquent,
right,
pre-foreclosures, probates. Those are the 3 lists we're mailing to. But it's just not a whole lot of people. It's maybe 200 people, every 2 weeks, or 200 people every month. Because I live in a smaller town. Just the smaller niche list. And then we're doing, what else are we doing? The slide broadcast.
Cool.
Driving for dollars. This is another thing I forgot to tell you guys. Realtors, network with realtors. I get tons of deals. I got a development deal that we're going to develop. We're going to make about $750,000 on it total. That was the deal. I told you I made 100. We cashed out a portion of it. We sold a portion of the development deal, made 130,000 already on it March 2nd. But I still have another, 500,000 to make on, 550,000 left to make on. I got that deal for free with networking with a realtor. A mobile home park I just bought a month ago. If you go watch one of my Facebook Lives, I just bought a mobile home park. I got that deal from a realtor. Everywhere I go, if you're a realtor, I want to know who you are and I want you to know who I am. And I network and I tell them, hey, if you got deals, send them to me. I was telling some of my students last night on a coaching call, I go to this gym every morning. And it's like the biggest gym where I go and everybody's there, right? I probably see 10 realtors a day in there. Every day I hound them. Hey, where's my deals? Where's my deals? You got my deals? Every day. Like, why am I doing that? Like, I almost harass them in a joking manner, not like really harassing them, but they laugh at me. Man, you cheating on me? Why you not sending me no more deals? So, but why am I doing that? I want to brand myself in their mind. It's all about branding. You want to brand yourself in your market as the guy that buys houses. So next time that Joe that I've been harassing for the past 6 months comes across a deal and he needs to sell it fast, he can't list on MLS, who's the first person he's going to think about? Chris Rood. That's right. Because I'm branded in his mind. You got to have obnoxious communication. Obnoxious. Like, talk to everybody. The more you communicate, the more money you're going to make. If you're a shy, timid person, do not get into wholesaling.
Nice. Chris, dude, I got so much question for you, but I value your time so much. So I'm going to wrap this up. And so before that, we're going to wrap this up, Chris. How do people reach out to you if they want like a mentor, a coach, a one-on-one, someone that's going to take them from where they are now to where they needed to be or wanted to be successful in this business? Yes.
So go to chrisrood.com, book a call with me and my team. We would love to help you. We have like our price points vary from $500, to $25,000 coaching package. So, but we have all in between. It all depends on how much of my time you want. But I mean, if you just want my course, it's $500. If you want my course plus one coaching call, it's $1,000. 1 month of coaching is $2,000. 3 months, 2 months of coaching is $3,500. 3 months of coaching is $5,000. 6 months of coaching is $10,000. 1 year of coaching one-on-one with me is $25,000. If you don't have any money and you're 18 years old, 17, you live with mom and dad and you want to learn about wholesaling, go to my YouTube channel, go subscribe. I give away tons of free content at Chris Rood. Follow me on my personal page at Chris Rood. Follow me on Instagram at Real Estate Rood and Snapchat at Real Estate Rood. So, but yeah, chrisrood.com is where you're going to find me for the coaching.
Awesome, Chris. Thanks a lot for that. So you guys, Chris does have a channel. And you guys, he puts tons of content. So if you guys are interested, check out his YouTube channel. It's Chris Rood. Rood. Okay. Yep. And I'll put everything in the descriptions. So that way you guys, if you guys want that mentor, that's someone that you need to take you by your hand to get you where you will need it to be or want it to be, reach out to Chris. Like he said, you can book a call with him and he'll kind of share with you kind of where, kind of what program you can get in, etc., and how he can help you guys to be successful. Now, Chris, one last word before we wrap this up is any advice to give to, you know, to people that's starting out and want to get into this business? Any last tip or advice?
Absolutely. So I wanted to throw out there before we hung up anyway. I can teach a monkey how to market. Marketing is not rocket science. I just gave you a bunch of strategies for free. The key factor determining if you're going to be a good investor and especially wholesaler, it is about skills. You know, it's what my brand is, right? Skills get the deals. You need skill sets, very good communication skills, people skills. If you're a good communicator, you will be a badass wholesaler. If you're not a good communicator, you will not be a good wholesaler. Anybody can market. But if you don't know how to go to that appointment and build rapport, talk to them, get them to like you, and you're not a people person, you're wasting your marketing money. So don't think because you see me doing this, making 6 figures a month and other people doing it. I guarantee those people that are doing this are very good communicators. Because I've seen people that got a lot of money who try to get into wholesaling. They can't do it. They don't have the personality. So make sure you develop people skills. You got to genuinely like people, have good intentions, and really listen to people and be a good communicator.
Chris, hands down, 100% agree with you. When I first started, it took me so long knowing what I know now, but it took me so long to get my first wholesale deal is because lack of communication, don't know how to talk to seller. So you guys, when you get a mentor, I'm sure that Chris will be able to get you on the phone, train you. The key thing is knowing what to say, what to ask to the seller, how to handle objections. That is crucial if you want to put deals under contract, you guys. And I agree with Chris 100%. If you don't know, if you're not a good communicator to talk to seller, you can send out a bunch of marketing and you won't be able to convert those leads into deals. All right, you guys. So if you guys need a mentor, dude, Chris is awesome. He has proven his success. And Chris, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your valuable time, taking your time of your day to be able to do this with me. And I just greatly appreciate it.
Awesome. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot. You guys, if you guys do enjoy this interview, please hit the subscribe button. And if you do like it, don't be shy. Smash that thumbs up for me. Thank you so much, you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.